You are already lying still or nearly still, and the world feels softer than it did earlier. The air rests gently against your skin. Light is dim. Sound is distant. You breathe in. You breathe out. And as you do, you imagine the ground beneath you, not as something rigid or fixed, but as something calm and alive. Earth is not a stone statue frozen in time. It is closer to a body at rest. You picture the planet the way you picture yourself when sleep begins to arrive. Supported. Heavy. Breathing without effort. The surface of Earth becomes skin in your mind. Not fragile skin. Not tight skin. But skin that has learned patience. This skin stretches across continents and oceans, wrapping the planet in a quiet continuity. It feels smooth from a distance, even though you know it holds texture, memory, and age. Nothing is rushing here. Nothing is forcing anything else to happen. You breathe again, a little slower now. Science often talks about Earth as if it is made of pieces, but tonight you let those pieces soften. Tectonic plates are not shards or weapons. They are companions. They rest beside one another the way blankets overlap on a bed. They drift the way thoughts drift when you stop trying to hold them. They move because movement is simply what warm, patient systems do. If you listen closely, there is a quiet hum beneath everything. Not a sound you hear with your ears, a sound you feel with your chest. It is the hum of a planet that has never stopped breathing. You imagine Earth lying beneath you the way a sleeping animal lies beneath its own fur. Its skin rises and falls so slowly that no single moment gives it away. Only time notices. And time is very good at waiting. Your own body understands this kind of motion. Your chest lifts. Your chest settles. You do not command it. You allow it. The crust of Earth works the same way. It responds to warmth below, to pressure that builds gently, to the long memory of motion. There is no alarm in this process. Only response. You feel reassured by that. Motion does not mean danger. Motion means life continuing quietly. A small smile might appear as you realize something simple and slightly funny. Earth is doing its thing. You are doing yours. Neither of you needs supervision right now. The idea settles comfortably. You imagine running your hand across the planet's surface, feeling it warm from the inside, cool on top, like skin after a long day, like skin just before sleep. This skin is divided, yes, but not broken. Seams exist because seams are useful. Seams allow stretching without tearing. Your favorite clothes have seams. So does the planet. You breathe in. You breathe out. These seams are places of conversation, not conflict. They let Earth adjust its posture over long ages. They let heat travel upward without pressure building too tightly. Nothing snaps. Nothing shatters. The planet prefers slow solutions. You rest with that thought, letting it sink into you like warmth sinking into a blanket. Earth has had a very long time to learn how to move without harm. The skin of the planet holds scars, yes, but also flexibility. It has learned when to give. It has learned when to hold. So have you. The connection feels comforting rather than dramatic. You are not tiny on a violent world. You are resting on a body that knows how to care for itself. The light in your imagination grows softer. The edges of things blur slightly. Breathing becomes quieter. Under this calm skin, warmth circulates slowly. Not fire, not chaos, just steady energy, moving the way warmth always does when it has nowhere else to rush. This warmth presses gently upward, and the skin responds by easing, the way shoulders ease when you finally let them drop. Sometimes the skin stays close. Sometimes it drifts apart just enough to relax. That is all. You are not here to witness events. You are here to feel processes. Long, patient processes that unfold whether anyone is watching or not. The planet does not need an audience. But tonight you are a kind and quiet witness anyway. You notice how safe that feels. How grounded. A gentle thought drifts through, light enough to smile at. If Earth ever had trouble sleeping, it would probably listen to something very boring and very slow. Luckily, it already does. It listens to itself. You let your breathing match that idea. Slow, steady. The skin of the planet stretches and rests in cycles too long to count, too calm to fear. You don't need to measure them. You only need to know they exist. Beneath the calm surface you sense quiet lines, hidden seams, places where the skin will one day ease apart just a little more. Not suddenly, not violently, just enough. Your awareness drifts downward with your breath, following warmth, following patience. You are not sinking. You are being held. And somewhere below, the seams wait, relaxed and ready, quietly doing what they have always done. As your breath deepens, your attention drifts downward, toward the seams. You continue drifting downward, following the soft trail of your breath. Nothing pulls you, nothing pushes. Your awareness simply settles, like dust in still air. The skin of the planet feels closer now, not distant or abstract, but intimate and calm. You imagine it from the inside rather than the surface. Not something you stand on, something that holds. You notice faint lines running through the skin. They are not cracks. They are seams. Seams exist for kindness. They allow movement without damage. They allow rest without rigidity. You have seams too, at joints, at places where motion needs permission. Earth understands this. These tectonic seams are places where the planet loosens its grip just a little. Not because it is failing, because it is wise. You breathe in, your chest widens. You breathe out, it softens again. The seams behave the same way. They stretch so slowly that no single moment feels different from the one before it. Change here is not an event. It is a feeling spread thin across time. You imagine fabric warming in your hands, becoming more flexible the longer you hold it. Nothing tears. Nothing resists. The planet is warm inside. Warmth makes patience easier. These seams release tension the way a sleeping body releases the weight of the day. Shoulders drop. Jaw loosens. Breath deepens without instruction. Earth does not schedule this release. It happens naturally, quietly, while everything else continues. While forests grow. While oceans move. While you breathe. The idea feels comforting. The world adjusts itself even when you are not paying attention. You sense that these seams are everywhere, threading across the planet like subtle stitching. Some lie beneath mountains. Some beneath plains. Some beneath deep water where no one ever watches. They do not announce themselves. They simply exist. Sound in your imagination fades further now, becoming a low, steady hush. Like wind far away, like the inside of a seashell. You let that hush settle behind your thoughts. These seams stretch at a pace that does not belong to clocks or calendars. They follow warmth and gravity and time that unfolds without counting. There is no hurry here, no deadline. You smile softly at the thought that if Earth had a bedtime routine, this stretching would be part of it. A long, luxurious stretch before turning over in sleep. You know the feeling. You imagine the planet easing itself wider, millimeter by millimeter, not to separate dramatically, but to stay comfortable. Comfort matters even at planetary scales. The skin responds because it is allowed to respond. It is not trapped. It is not frozen. You feel reassured by this flexibility. Rigidity breaks. Gentleness adapts. The science underneath this idea remains simple and calm. Heat rises slowly. Pressure follows. The surface responds by stretching rather than snapping. No alarms sound. No sharp edges appear. You notice how different this feels from the way motion is often described. Here, movement is not an interruption. It is maintenance. Earth is taking care of itself. Your own body does the same thing while you sleep. Tissues repair. Breath deepens. Tension leaves quietly. You are not required to witness any of it. It happens anyway. The seams stretch whether anyone notices or not. They stretched long before you were here. They will continue long after. This does not feel lonely. Feel steady. You sense that some of these seams are hidden far beneath oceans, out of sight, wrapped in darkness and water. They stretch in silence, unbothered by surface weather or passing storms. There is something soothing about that privacy. Some processes do not need light. You rest with that thought, letting it sink like a stone that never hits bottom. The hush deepens. Your breathing slows again. You imagine the seams as gentle spaces opening just enough to let warmth escape, the way you crack a window at night to let cool air in. Just enough. Never too much. The planet knows its limits. A soft humor drifts through, light enough not to wake you. Earth is very good at stretching. It has had plenty of practice. You let that tiny smile pass and fade. The seams are not failures in the planet's design. They are part of it. They keep the skin from tightening too much. Tightness leads to strain. Release leads to balance. You feel balance settling into your own body now. Weight distributes evenly. Nothing clenches. The planet and your body mirror one another in this quiet way. You follow one seam in your imagination as it travels outward, slowly, steadily, toward colder places, toward water, toward darkness. The hush grows deeper, like being underwater with your ears just below the surface. You are not afraid of the depth. You are curious, but calmly so. These seams do not rush into the open. They drift there over immense spans of time, guided by warmth and patience rather than force. You feel gratitude for that patience, for systems that move slowly enough to be kind. Your breath widens your chest again. The seams widen their space too. Everything feels synchronized without effort. As you exhale, your attention drifts farther outward, following the seam as it slips beneath imagined waves. Light dims. Sound softens even more. The fabric of Earth's skin continues to ease apart beneath deep water, quietly shaping the world while you rest. With each exhale, you drift farther outward, toward the deep, dark waters. You drift gently above the deep, dark waters, carried by the slow exhale you just released. The surface world feels far away now. Light softens. Sound fades into a deep, padded quiet. Below you, the ocean floor waits. You are not sinking toward it. You are hovering, calm and unhurried, as if buoyed by the planet's own breath. The darkness here is not empty. It is full of warmth, pressure, and time moving at its preferred pace. Beneath the water, Earth's skin continues its quiet work. This is one of the places where the seams you followed finally open a little wider. Not enough to tear, just enough to breathe. You imagine the ocean floor as a thick, heavy blanket. Below it, warmth gathers patiently. The warmth does not rush. It waits until the moment feels right. When it rises, it does so gently, like heat rising through fabric on a cool night. No splash, no shock. The skin above responds by easing apart, creating space without strain. You sense this opening as a widening rather than a breaking. The planet makes room for itself. You breathe in. Your chest lifts. The warmth beneath the ocean floor lifts too. You breathe out. Everything settles again. This rhythm repeats over and over so slowly that it feels almost still. The ocean does not notice. The sky does not notice. But time does. Here, new surface forms quietly. Not formed by collision, but by arrival. Warm material meets cold water and cools without protest. It hardens gently, layer by layer, becoming part of the planet's skin. Fresh, smooth, unhurried. You imagine touching it, feeling warmth fading into firmness, like a stone left in the sun that slowly cools after dusk. There is something deeply comforting about this process. Nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. Old surface drifts away somewhere else, and new surface appears here, without drama. The planet recycles itself in silence. You feel safe knowing this happens far below, far from sudden change. The ocean floor has all the time it needs. Sound down here is different. It is not absence. It is pressure softened into quiet. The hush wraps around you like thick water around your ears. Your thoughts slow to match it. This is one of Earth's most dependable breaths. Inhale warmth. Exhale surface. Again and again. If the planet had a heartbeat, it would not be loud. It would be steady. You imagine this breathing happening continuously, whether anyone thinks about it or not. While ships pass overhead. While storms move across the surface. While you lie resting somewhere far above. The ocean floor does not hurry for them. It does not pause for them. Continues at its own pace. That steadiness feels like permission. You do not have to rush either. You rest in the idea that the newest parts of Earth are forming right now, quietly unseen. fresh skin appearing where warmth meets water. It is strange and soothing to realize that the youngest parts of the planet live in the darkest places. Growth does not require attention. The warmth rises again, slowly spreading beneath the blanket of rock. Pressure builds just enough to encourage movement, never enough to cause alarm. You imagine the skin above responding like relaxed shoulders, easing apart to release tension. The seam widens, then rests. Everything pauses. The pause matters as much as the movement. Your breath mirrors this instinctively. Inhale, pause, exhale. You feel how natural that rhythm is, how little effort it requires when you stop trying to control it. The planet feels like it is teaching you something without words. Slow systems are resilient systems. A gentle humor floats through the quiet, light as a bubble. Earth has been practicing this breathing far longer than any meditation app. It does not need reminders. You let the thought drift away, smiling softly. The ocean above this place remains cold and dark, pressing downward with immense patience. The new surface does not resist. It accepts the weight and settles into place. Acceptance feels easier when nothing is rushed. Layer by layer, breath by breath, the ocean floor expands outward, spreading the planet's skin without tearing it. The seam continues, long and unbroken, stretching across vast distances in perfect calm. You sense how consistent this process is. Not dramatic, reliable. This is not an exception in Earth's story. It is routine, and routines are comforting. Your awareness drifts along the seam, following the quiet line where warmth meets water. You do not need to know where it leads. You trust it. The darkness here is gentle. It holds without squeezing. You imagine the glow beneath the surface, muted and soft, like embers beneath ash. Enough warmth to sustain motion, never enough to overwhelm. The planet regulates itself with care. Your body does the same thing, adjusting temperature, breath, and balance without asking permission. You are more like Earth than you realize. The seam continues its work, spreading new skin outward, millimeter by millimeter, breath by breath. Time flows without counting. You feel calm curiosity rather than excitement. There is nothing to anticipate, nothing to brace for, just continuation. The ocean floor breathes in warmth. It breathes out surface. Again, the rhythm steadies you. As the warmth fades upward into coolness, everything settles into a steady calm. The new surface rests. The seam waits patiently for the next slow rise. Your attention begins to lift gently, the way it does when sleep deepens rather than ends. You are still held by darkness, but the sense of motion softens. The ocean floor continues breathing behind you now, dependable and quiet. The warmth fades into a steady calm, and your attention drifts toward the continents. Your attention drifts gently away from the deep ocean darkness, rising without effort. The steady calm follows you. Nothing breaks. Nothing rushes. You find yourself resting on land now, solid and familiar, warmed by quiet sunlight. The ground beneath you feels steady, dependable, and patient. At first, it seems unchanged, as if nothing here could ever move at all. But you know better now. This land is part of Earth's skin too, and skin responds everywhere, not only beneath the sea. Here, far from waves and darkness, the surface stretches in a way so slow it feels invisible. You imagine standing in a wide open place, where the air is dry and warm. Dust rests softly on stone. Light spreads evenly, without glare. Nothing dramatic happens here. That is the point. Beneath your feet, Earth's skin eases apart, millimeter by millimeter, guided by warmth and patience rather than force. This is a continental rift, though the name sounds much louder than the reality. In truth, it is more like a long exhale. The land does not tear. It relaxes. You feel reassured by that distinction. Release feels safer than rupture. As the surface stretches, it thins gently, like dough resting before it is shaped. The thinning does not weaken it, prepares it. Over time that is too long to count, the land lowers slightly, creating valleys where once there were none. Not sudden valleys, soft ones, wide spaces that invite sky and light to settle in. You imagine these valleys forming the way a mattress dips where you lie, adjusting itself to support rather than collapse. The land is learning how to hold change comfortably. Birds pass overhead, distant and unhurried. Their calls arrive softened by air and space. Nothing about their flight suggests alarm. Life continues as the ground slowly changes beneath it. You notice how little resistance there is in this process. The planet is not fighting itself. It is accommodating itself. Warmth from below rises gradually, encouraging the surface to stretch rather than strain. The skin responds because it can. You breathe in, your chest opens. You breathe out, your shoulders drop. The land mirrors this rhythm. Continental rifts do not announce their presence with sound or spectacle. They whisper through shape, through slow lowering, through widening space. The science here feels gentle when framed this way. Heat rises, pressure follows. The surface responds by easing apart. No counting is needed. No urgency applies. You imagine running your hand across warm rock, feeling fine dust settle against your skin. The surface feels dry, calm, and grounded. This land is not fragile. It is flexible. Flexibility allows survival over long time. You think about how often strength is mistaken for stiffness. The planet does not make that mistake. It chooses adaptability instead. A quiet smile forms at the thought that Earth is very good at letting go when it needs to. Better than most people, honestly. You let that small humor pass gently, like a breeze. As the land stretches, cracks may appear, but they are not wounds. They are invitations for space. Space allows heat to escape. Space allows pressure to soften. The valleys deepen slowly, shaping landscapes that will one day feel ancient to those who walk them. Mountains may rise at their edges, not in conflict, but in response. Everything balances everything else. You feel calm knowing that this shaping happens without suddenness. The land gives itself time to adjust. Time is generous here. Sunlight rests on stone without shifting. Shadows stay long and relaxed. The planet seems to be resting into a new posture, the way you shift in bed until everything feels just right. Not because something is wrong, because comfort matters. You sense how this stretching on land connects to the seams beneath the oceans. It is all part of the same skin, responding everywhere at once in different ways. Nothing is isolated. Your breath continues to deepen without effort. Each inhale feels fuller. Each exhale feels softer. The land does not mind being patient. It has practiced this longer than anything else you know. You imagine standing at the edge of one of these wide valleys, looking across open space filled with warm air and quiet light. The scale feels large but not overwhelming. The openness feels welcoming rather than empty. Here, separation creates room rather than loss. That feels important. You realize that letting go does not always mean breaking apart. Sometimes it means making space to breathe. The land understands this instinctively. As the surface stretches, it remains connected, held together by its own flexibility. Nothing is abandoned. Nothing is wasted. The planet is careful with itself. You feel supported by that care, even though it is not directed at you personally. It does not need to be. The ground beneath you feels trustworthy, even as it changes slowly over deep time. Change does not cancel stability. They coexist. Warm air moves lazily across the valley floor. Dust lifts briefly, then settles again. Everything returns to rest. You imagine how this place will continue to change long after you leave it, long after anyone notices. The land will keep easing, widening, adjusting. And that is okay. Your body understands this rhythm now. It releases what it does not need to hold. As the land opens, your breath opens too. The connection feels natural, unforced. You sink deeper into that shared sense of patience, of time unfolding without pressure. As the land opens, your breath opens too, and you sink deeper into time. You sink gently into the feeling of time widening around you, not speeding up, not slowing down, simply opening. Here, time does not arrive in ticks or edges. It moves like a tide that never crashes, carries rather than pushes. You feel yourself resting inside it, held the way Earth holds its own movements. The land you just visited continues stretching behind you, but now it feels distant, softened by patience. The valleys deepen without urgency. The seams widen without sound. You are no longer watching change happen. You are resting inside change itself. This kind of time does not ask for attention. It exists whether you notice or not. You breathe in. The breath feels longer. You breathe out. The exhale lingers. Geological time feels like this. Not a line. A field. A wide, open field where processes unfold at their natural pace. Nothing rushes across it. Nothing stumbles. Earth has lived in this field for as long as it has existed. It does not know hurry. It does not know impatience. Movement here happens the way sleep stretches happen. A slow reach, a pause, a release. You know this feeling in your own body. That half-dream stretch where muscles lengthen without command. Where comfort guides motion. The planet stretches the same way. Tectonic movement is not a moment. It is a conversation that never needs to finish its sentence. Heat speaks. Pressure listens. The surface responds gently. Then everything waits again. You rest with that idea, letting it settle like warmth settling into a blanket. Earth is not reacting. It is responding. There is a difference, and your body feels it. Reacting is sharp. Responding is smooth. Geological time smooths everything it touches. Mountains rise not in leaps, but in patience. Valleys deepen not in falls, but in yielding. You feel calm knowing that nothing on this planet needs to rush to exist. Existence itself is enough. Your breath finds a rhythm that does not need improvement. The seams beneath land and sea continue their work without clocks. They stretch because warmth invites them to. They pause because balance asks them to. No one tells them when to stop. This timescale is too large for fear. Fear requires urgency. Urgency dissolves here. You notice how your thoughts grow softer as you imagine time like this. Less pointed. More spacious. It becomes easier to let them drift without following. Earth's body has learned that slow systems last. Fast systems burn out. So it chooses slowness again and again. You imagine the planet stretching in its sleep, unaware of watchers, unconcerned with outcomes, just responding to warmth, weight, and memory. The idea feels comforting rather than strange. A gentle humor slips through, light enough not to disturb you. Earth has never missed a deadline. It simply keeps going. You smile, then let the thought fade. This time does not measure success. It does not measure failure. It only allows continuation. The seams stretch. The surface adjusts. The interior circulates warmth. All of it unfolds inside this wide, forgiving sense of time. You feel yourself settling deeper into it, the way you settle deeper into a mattress as muscles relax. Support increases as effort decreases. The planet understands that rest is not absence of movement. Rest is movement without strain. Geological time is restful time. Your breathing slows even more now. The pauses between breaths lengthen. Nothing interrupts them. In this space, events lose their sharpness. They become phases, transitions. A rift is not a break. It is a long letting go. A boundary is not an edge. It is a place where time lingers. You imagine standing somewhere between moments, watching centuries pass like clouds. Soft, unhurried. The earth beneath you does not mind your presence. It does not notice your weight. It has carried oceans. That thought settles your body further. Time here does not accumulate pressure. It disperses it. Warmth rises. The surface yields. Balance returns. Again and again. You realize that nothing about this process demands belief or effort. It happens regardless. That realization feels like permission. You do not have to manage the planet. You do not have to manage time. You are allowed to rest inside both. The stretching continues beneath land and sea, steady and patient, like a sleeper shifting position just enough to stay comfortable. Nothing snaps. Nothing rushes. The conversation continues quietly, sentence by sentence, pause by pause. You feel held by that continuity, as if time itself has slowed its voice so you can rest. Your breath evens out completely now. In the warmth beneath the surface waits patiently for its next gentle rise. There is no urgency to begin. Your awareness drifts with it, following that warmth downward without effort. Your breathing evens out, and you drift toward the warmth beneath the surface. You descend softly from the open valleys of continental rifts, carried by the lingering calm of deep time. The seams of earth stretch beneath you, still unseen, still unhurried. Your breath matches their pace. Below the surface, warmth gathers in a slow, deliberate rhythm. Not fire, not flames, not chaos. Warmth moves like a heartbeat that is steady, consistent, and entirely patient. It rises unseen, beneath the thick skin of rock. You imagine the mantle as a gentle river flowing very slowly, like syrup over a wide table. The currents are heavy but deliberate. They shape the crust not by sudden force, but by persistent presence. The planet has been moving this way for eons. It has learned to balance heat and pressure without harm. You feel comforted by this knowledge. You notice how calmness spreads into your body as your mind absorbs it. Warmth presses upward from deep inside. The rock above softens imperceptibly, stretching in response. Seams widen where needed. Crust shifts slowly, guided by steady energy. Your chest rises gently with the thought. Your exhale follows the motion. This rhythm repeats, silently and endlessly, beneath oceans, beneath continents, beneath mountains that seem fixed but are not. Nothing in this process is hurried. Nothing is sharp. Everything is persistent. You feel the scale of it, not as overwhelming, but as soothing. A patient system unfolds on a timeline you do not need to track. Warmth moves like blood through the planet's veins. It rises, spreads, cools, sinks again. A quiet cycle of circulation that sustains balance. You notice how similar it is to your own body. Circulation that works without your attention. Temperature that adjusts without command. Patience built into the design. The planet's heat does not rush to reach the surface. It simply moves steadily, rising where it is needed. It creates space, eases tension, and allows the skin above to relax. The rock responds in kind, stretching, shifting, listening. You imagine placing a hand on the crust, feeling the faint warmth rising through stone. The heat is steady, soothing. It does not burn. It does not demand. Everything responds with gentle timing. Movement here is measured, careful, comforting. You breathe in. You breathe out. The mantle's motion flows in waves that are long and unbroken. They push upward slowly, expanding crust and widening seams. No urgency intrudes. No alarms sound. The planet's warmth sustains everything above. It gives flexibility to oceans and continents. It shapes mountains while never needing to rush. The scale of this energy is enormous. But your mind does not feel small. Instead, you feel grounded, connected, supported. The planet's patient currents are like a lullaby, steady pulses that move without clamor. You follow them as if you are floating in slow motion. Sometimes you imagine light drifting through cracks, just enough to touch the dark rock. Not for illumination, not for spectacle, simply to accompany the warmth. Even deep inside, the skin responds, stretching where it can, bending where it must. The seams you've followed from valleys and oceans continue to adjust without fanfare. You smile softly, realizing that Earth has been managing itself this way far longer than anyone has watched. It does not need praise. It does not need recognition. And yet it persists. Your own breathing deepens further, syncing with this slow internal rhythm. Inhale warmth. Exhale release. A tiny, gentle humor rises as you notice that Earth has been circulating heat while everyone above worries about clocks. It does not care about clocks. It cares about balance. The currents move and settle and shift. Layer upon layer. Melt and cool. Rise and spread. The rock above bends with ease. Seams that once seemed fixed open fractionally. Valleys and ridges adjust in response. Every motion is patient. Every movement is measured. You imagine following a single current, rising from deep within the mantle. It carries warmth upward, pushing gently against the crust. The skin above softens as it passes. You feel the echo of this rhythm in your own body. The parallel feels comforting. You drift along the flow, noticing the subtle changes in pressure. The crust above is pliant, not fragile, not brittle. It stretches slowly, yielding to the warmth without strain. You breathe in, you breathe out. The cycles of the mantle are long. They persist without interruption. They do not notice if anyone watches. You imagine yourself as a small observer in a vast world of slow circulation. No need to act. No need to intervene. Just noticing is enough. Warmth hums through the rock, rising and cooling in a continuous pattern. The planet's rhythm is unbroken. It feels like trust incarnate. Even deep currents that seem hidden from view influence everything above. Mountains, valleys, oceans, all guided by gentle, unseen forces. Your body mirrors this awareness. Circulation flows, muscles soften, breathing lengthens. You imagine pressing your palm against the planet's skin. You feel the slow pulse of warmth beneath it. No shock, no urgency, just steady presence. The seams beneath oceans and continents respond, stretching and relaxing to accommodate these flows. Movement continues without drama. You feel the connection between warmth and surface. You feel how balance emerges naturally. Sometimes a tiny flicker of humor drifts in. The mantle has been rising and settling for billions of years. It does not ask for applause. It does not seek attention. And yet, it persists with quiet dedication. You smile and exhale. The warmth below now feels like a low hum vibrating through the planet. It does not demand focus. It is merely present. The skin of the planet continues its slow dance above it. Seams widen fractionally. Crust adjusts. Everything accommodates gently. You realize that Earth's patience mirrors your own body's rest. No rush, no tension, only cycles of rising, settling, and waiting. You drift along these invisible currents, aware of heat rising, aware of pressure softening, aware of crust bending without strain. The rhythms of the planet and your own breath intertwine. And then, softly, you begin to rise again in awareness. Not hurriedly, not abruptly, slowly, gently, like consciousness surfacing from a dream. The warmth hums beneath you still, a quiet, constant presence. Seams remain patient. Skin remains flexible. Your attention rises with this gentle flow, and your awareness moves slowly back toward the surface. You drift upward from the deep warmth beneath the crust, your awareness following the slow rise of heat toward the surface. The planet's skin has been moving for eons, stretching, bending, and yielding patiently. Now your gaze finds another part of this quiet dance. Volcanoes. They are not the dramatic bursts of imagination or fear you might have pictured. They are gentle release valves. You imagine them as exhalations, not explosions. Earth breathes, and the pressure inside must find a way to leave. These exhalations happen slowly, steadily, and without urgency. Molten rock rises from deep within the mantle, carrying warmth that has been circulating for millennia. It reaches the surface like a soft sigh, melting into gentle flows or quietly cooling under ash. Your chest rises and falls as you think of this. Your inhale mirrors the rise of molten warmth. Your exhale mirrors the calm settling of rock. The world around volcanoes is quiet in your mind. Light glows softly through drifting ash. Embryonic landscapes form slowly, painting themselves with glowing threads rather than sudden strokes. You notice how comforting it feels to reframe these places. Pressure does not become disaster here. It becomes rhythm. It becomes balance. Volcanoes teach patience. You breathe in, you breathe out, and with every breath, the planet exhales as well. The flows of lava are warm and soft in your imagination, glowing but never threatening. They curve around obstacles, slow and deliberate. They reshape the skin above with care, creating valleys, plains, and gentle hills. The planet does not rush to correct itself. It releases what it must in small, careful increments. You imagine standing at the edge of a flow, feeling warmth through the ground without danger. The heat is soothing. The movement is calm. You are safe. Your attention drifts to ash rising quietly into the sky. It spreads slowly, like smoke from a distant candle, diffusing light and shadow. Nothing about it demands panic. Everything is rhythmic. You feel your own body responding. Tension in muscles softens. Shoulders lower. Breath deepens. Volcanoes, in this way, mirror the body's natural release. Exhalation relieves pressure. Movement restores balance. Both follow gentle, dependable patterns. The mantle beneath continues its patient circulation, feeding these exhalations with warmth. Nothing is wasted. Everything contributes to equilibrium. You imagine rivers of lava traveling down gentle slopes. They do not roar. They do not sprint. They flow slowly, creating patterns that are pleasing in their patience. Even glowing embers feel like reminders of steady release. Light appears softly through the haze, highlighting surfaces that are reshaped without drama. You notice the humor in this, quiet and small. Volcanoes, so often feared, have been perfecting patience long before anyone was around to watch. You smile gently and exhale, letting that small thought drift away. Pressure builds in the planet's interior, yes, but it builds like a quiet conversation rather than a shouting match. And it finds its way out carefully. Molten material rises not because it must, but because it can. The crust above stretches to accommodate it, bending, yielding, responding without pain. Your own body mirrors this. Your breath expands. Your muscles release. Your mind softens. Volcanoes show you the value of release, of letting go, of movement that prevents strain elsewhere. The planet is always balancing itself, carefully, quietly. The exhalations of lava keep the seams, ridges, and valleys patient. Nothing is left to accumulate into harm. You notice that even ash settles in patterns that are beautiful and calm, covers land without burdening it. It adds layers that eventually become soil, support, and foundation. Every eruption is small in comparison to the planet's age, measured not in minutes but in millennia. Yet each one is essential. Your own exhalation feels like one of these small, important events. You release. The planet releases. Balance persists. You drift above a volcano in your mind. The slopes are soft. The glow is warm. The surrounding land is quiet. Everything aligns in slow, deliberate harmony. Heat rises in long arcs. Rock flows and rests. Seams stretch and adjust. The rhythm is unbroken. Your body follows the same rhythm. Inhale warmth. Exhale tension. Repeat. You feel safe in the repetition. You notice how little energy is needed to maintain these slow, careful motions. Patience is sufficient. Balance is sufficient. The humor that arises is soft. Volcanoes have been taking care of the planet's pressure for billions of years. They do not need applause. They do not need attention. And yet, their work is essential. You smile, letting the thought fade gently. Lava continues its course. Seams above and below stretch and accommodate. Pressure is relieved without catastrophe. You imagine how these flows influence surrounding land. They shape valleys. They nourish soil. They create habitats. Everything works in concert. Your own breathing slows further as you witness this. Each inhale lifts. Each exhale settles. The rhythm mirrors the flows you imagine. The glow of molten rock dims softly. Ash drifts lazily. The land adjusts. All is calm. You notice that this quiet exhalation connects to the deep currents you visited earlier. Heat from the mantle rises. Seams respond. Crust adjusts. Balance continues. You feel a sense of deep reassurance. The planet knows how to care for itself. It knows how to release. Even in moments of apparent tension, patience and rhythm guide everything. Your body knows this too. It has its own gentle release cycles, unconscious and unhurried. The flows and exhalations of the earth remind you to follow the same pattern. Inhale warmth. Exhale. Rest. The volcano's glow softens further in your imagination. The hush around it grows deeper. Movement persists, but nothing demands attention. You imagine drifting above the slopes, feeling the warmth but untouched. Everything is gentle. Everything is intentional. The seams, the flows, the warmth, all part of the same system. A living rhythm that does not require hurry. A rhythm that encourages patience. You breathe slowly. The planet exhales with you. The glow of molten rock becomes a quiet memory. Ash settles. Seams stretch. The crust rests. And then, softly, the glow dims completely, leaving only a low hum of warmth beneath the skin. The quiet stillness settles over the land and ocean. The planet rests once more, and you feel held by it. The glow dims, and a quiet stillness settles in. You rise gently from the volcanic slopes, leaving behind the glowing flows and drifting ash. A hush lingers in your mind, soft and steady. Now you listen, not with urgency, not for news. Simply listen. The planet has always spoken, but its language is slow and quiet. Seams shifting beneath oceans. Rock bending beneath valleys. Heat rising like a low, constant hum. You place your awareness gently over these signals. A vibration here, a subtle echo there. The skin of Earth breathes, and you are invited to notice. Listening does not require effort. It only requires presence. You breathe in. The hush surrounds you. You breathe out. The hush deepens. The sounds of movement are so faint that you could miss them if you rush. But you do not rush. You do not need to. The planet's activity is meditative. A vibration travels through the crust like a whispered conversation. Pauses. It resumes. Carries knowledge of balance and patience. You imagine resting your hand lightly on the surface. You feel shifts without strain. Gentle pulses that have persisted for millennia. Even deep currents from the mantle contribute to this subtle hum. Heat moves upward. Seams adjust. Crust yields. Nothing demands attention. Nothing startles. The rhythm is slow, consistent, and reassuring. You breathe in. You feel connected. You breathe out. You feel held. Listening becomes meditation. The activity beneath your feet is not noise. It is a gentle, unbroken signal that balance exists. You notice how your body responds. Muscles soften. Chest lifts lightly. Mind opens to the slow cadence. It is as if the planet's breath echoes your own. Your inhale stretches. Your exhale releases. A subtle, gentle humor arises. The Earth has been teaching patience longer than any clock has existed. It does not need to speak loudly, yet it teaches perfectly. You allow your attention to drift over a continental rift in your imagination. Seams stretch, rock bends, valleys deepen slowly. Even without witnesses, the rhythm persists. Your breath lengthens in quiet response. Inhale warmth. Exhale tension. The planet communicates this way across all landscapes. Under oceans, through mountains, across plains. The signals are too slow for alarm, too persistent to ignore, just enough to notice if you choose to pay attention. You imagine walking softly over these shifts, feeling them beneath your feet. Subtle vibrations, like gentle waves in a calm pond. Not sudden, not forceful, comforting. Even the smallest echo carries information. Tells you the seams continue to work. The heat rises. The surface adjusts. Balance persists. You breathe in. You feel gratitude for this quiet intelligence. You breathe out. You feel relief. The act of listening becomes a form of trust. Not in control, not in command. Simply observing and knowing that processes unfold safely. You picture scientists listening too, without urgency, without alarm. Instruments record vibrations, measure slow adjustments, and translate subtle shifts into understanding. The work is patient, deliberate, meditative. Their attention mirrors your own calm awareness. Observation replaces worry. Knowledge replaces fear. You feel reassured that awareness itself can be a gentle act. The Earth continues to move, breathe, and adjust, and you are allowed to witness it in peace. Every pulse you sense feels like a heartbeat of the planet. A heartbeat that carries history, patience, and care. You breathe in. Your chest lifts. You breathe out. You sink deeper into awareness. The subtle sounds of rock and heat form a quiet symphony. It is steady. It is safe. It is nurturing. You notice the humor in your curiosity. Listening to a planet may feel strange. But in the silence, you realize it is the most natural thing in the world. Vibrations from distant earthquakes fade into calm. Seams beneath the ocean continue to stretch. Valleys and ridges shift fractionally. All of it follows rhythm. All of it follows balance. You imagine standing in a wide, open place where these movements are imperceptible. Yet their effects are continuous. Nothing accumulates dangerously. Nothing breaks without reason. The Earth's patience flows into your awareness. It teaches that slow, deliberate movement prevents harm. That release is preferable to strain. That continuity is more comforting than sudden change. You breathe in. You breathe out. Your attention drifts to the smallest signals. The low hum of mantle currents, the stretch of a distant seam, the subtle rise of heat through rock. You realize how safe this is. You realize how reliable. The Earth knows how to move and how to rest. Your own breath deepens again, following this rhythm. Inhale warmth. Exhale softly. Inhale awareness. Exhale tension. You notice that the slower you breathe, the more you perceive. You perceive the planet's subtle motions. You perceive your own connection to them. You perceive calm. The act of listening feels like being embraced by patience itself. A slow, continuous assurance that the world continues to care for itself. You imagine the sounds fading into a quiet hum, persistent but not demanding. You feel held in that hum, cradled in its consistency. All the seams, flows, and exhalations you have witnessed now blend into a singular sense of calm. The planet's movements, though subtle, create a network of reassurance. You breathe in, letting that awareness fill you. You breathe out, releasing any tension, any need to hurry, any expectation. The hush of the Earth's subtle signals grows deeper. It is soft, unbroken, and entirely patient. You realize that observing these small signs is enough. You do not need to act. You do not need to measure. You only need to notice. And in noticing, you participate. In awareness, you join the slow, meditative dance of the planet. The listening fades gradually into silence, leaving only the presence of calm. A calm that feels safe. A calm that feels lasting. The hum of subtle movement persists beneath the skin, beneath the oceans, beneath the mountains. And you rest within it. The listening fades into silence, and the silence feels safe. You rise slowly from the quiet hum of the planet's subtle signals. The listening has taught you patience. It has taught you trust. Now you step onto the land once more. The ground beneath your feet is not rigid. It is alive with slow motion, stretching, adjusting, breathing. But you do not fear it. You feel its steady support. Life everywhere has learned this rhythm. Forests sway over slowly widening seams. Rivers follow gentle slopes created by patient valleys. Birds and animals move across the terrain, unaware of the seams but guided by the balance they create. You feel a calm understanding settling in. The planet moves and life moves with it. There is no rush, no conflict. Your attention drifts to the plants beneath your feet. Roots stretch downward, seeking stability in shifting soil. They sense tension and yield where necessary. Flexibility becomes their strength. You breathe in. You feel the connection between your body and the living ground. You breathe out. You feel release. Human life is also a quiet participant in this story. Buildings, roads, and communities rest atop moving skin. Engineers and architects understand subtle shifts. They design for patience, not force. You imagine walking through a village built on gentle rifts. Stone paths flex. Foundations accommodate. Structures survive not by resisting motion, but by moving with it. The same principle applies to you. Your body rests atop a planet in motion, supported by layers of rock, soil, and water that adjust beneath you. No sudden tremor disturbs your balance. The earth beneath you knows how to move without harm. You notice how reassuring that is. Motion does not equal danger. Movement does not require vigilance. Continuity, not rigidity, sustains life. Breath aligns with understanding. Inhale the patience of this land. Exhale tension, worry, or effort. Animals adapt effortlessly. A fox crosses a widening valley without noticing the subtle drift of the terrain. Birds nest on cliffs that slowly adjust with warming currents beneath. Fish navigate currents guided by changes in the ocean floor you have followed. Everything coexists. Nothing fights motion. Nothing resists the rhythm of time. You feel how this rhythm supports life. The same cycles you have observed, mantle flow, stretching seams, gentle exhalations from volcanoes, create the conditions for adaptation. Life thrives because the planet moves patiently. Your body notices this too. Muscles release. Bones settle. Breath stretches gently. You are part of the same cycle, resting on moving ground. Even human activity respects subtle motion. Walkways flex. Bridges sway just enough. Homes rest on foundations that accommodate shifts rather than resist them. You imagine a child playing in a park above a slowly spreading seam. The earth beneath holds and supports, even as it moves. Movement becomes reassurance. It is a quiet teacher. You feel a gentle humor rise. Life continues because of the patient adjustments of the earth beneath. No drama, no chaos, only quiet understanding. The rivers you followed in your imagination flow along gentle valleys shaped by patient land. They meander calmly, carving their paths over centuries, always guided by balance. The motion beneath supports the motion above. Breath and rhythm continue their soft dance in your body. You inhale patience. You exhale expectation. You notice how everything that rests atop Earth's moving skin adapts without thought. Grass bends with each subtle tremor. Trees sway in response to widening valleys. Settlements and cities adjust, absorbed into the slow, careful rhythm. Even your own presence is accommodated. The ground beneath you is flexible. It holds you, shifts imperceptibly, and restores stability with perfect timing. You sense that motion here is not threat, but reassurance. A message that the planet knows what it is doing. It moves with care, guided by energy that has existed since the first crust formed. Your awareness expands to include the ocean floor you left behind. Seams stretch beneath water. Currents rise and settle. Volcanic exhalations reach the surface. Life above and below continues. Everything persists. Everything thrives. You feel the interconnectedness deeply now. The land beneath, the oceans beneath that, the mantle beneath that, each layer contributes to stability, not chaos. Your body mirrors the lesson. You move without strain. You breathe without urgency. You rest without fear. Even as centuries pass beneath your feet, nothing is wasted. Motion sustains. Change nurtures. Flexibility supports life. You imagine walking through a forested valley formed by slow rifting. Birdsong floats through warm air. Leaves drift lazily to the ground. Roots follow subtle shifts in soil without resistance. All of this feels intentional, though not conscious. A perfect, unhurried harmony. You notice a gentle humor again. Life thrives atop a planet that does not stop moving. Yet nothing collapses. Nothing panics. The earth beneath you demonstrates that adaptability is more reliable than rigidity. Persistence is stronger than force. Gentle motion outlasts abruptness. Your awareness drifts to humans once more. People build, rest, and live atop this moving skin. They do not control it, yet they are supported by it. The planet has learned how to accommodate life without strain. You feel your body heavy now, supported, held. The rhythm of the planet beneath, combined with the slow movements of life above, teaches a lesson in trust. You inhale confidence. You exhale doubt. You notice how easily the principle applies to yourself. You can move gently through the world. You can rest atop shifting circumstances without fear. You can flow with rhythms larger than any single day, any single life. Motion becomes reassurance. Movement becomes continuity. You feel the pulse of life and earth as one unbroken thread. Your chest rises and falls with this understanding. Each inhale deepens patience. Each exhale releases expectation. You watch the land around you adapt continuously, unconsciously, effortlessly. You sense the delicate adjustments that sustain every form of life, every structure, every river and valley. You feel gratitude for this quiet support. The planet moves with care, and life moves with it. Your body sinks deeper into this understanding. You are held. You are safe. Motion does not equal instability. Movement does not require alarm. Continuity is the rule, not exception. The earth beneath you continues its slow dance. Seams stretch gently. Currents rise and settle. Life thrives. And you rest atop it all, knowing that your place in this moving, breathing world is secure. Your body feels heavy now, supported, held. You rise gently from the valleys, rifts, and volcanoes you have visited, letting each memory settle softly in your mind. The earth beneath you continues its patient rhythms, invisible yet present. Your breath drifts slowly, mirroring the planet's motions. You feel the weight of your body pressing down, supported by moving skin that stretches, shifts, and accommodates with ease. There is no tension here, no resistance, only gentle, reliable presence. Seams stretch quietly beneath continents and oceans. Rivers trace the shapes of valleys formed over eons. Volcanoes have exhaled, cooling, settling, contributing to the balance above. Everything flows together. Nothing interrupts. Nothing hurries. You notice how the heat beneath the crust hums softly. It rises, it circulates, it shapes without demanding. The mantle beneath continues its patient circulation, a quiet rhythm that has existed since Earth's earliest moments. You feel connected to that rhythm. It is not distant. It moves through the ground into your feet, through your legs, and into the core of your body. Your inhale lifts, your exhale settles. You become aware of the slow, unbroken cycle of life and motion. You realize that everything you have observed, seems stretching, valleys forming, magma rising and cooling, heat circulating, volcanoes exhaling, life adapting. All of it is part of the same continuous flow. You rest within it, as if carried by a gentle tide. Breath aligns naturally with this rhythm. Inhale patience. Exhale release. Inhale understanding. Exhale tension. The planet does not need your supervision. It does not need your concern. It only needs time, space, and patience. And it has all three in abundance. You smile softly, acknowledging the calm humor in how the earth has managed itself for billions of years. It has exhaled, stretched, adapted, and balanced itself long before anyone was present to notice. Yet it persists with perfect care. Your chest rises and falls in quiet response. Your muscles soften. Your mind slows. The valleys, ridges, and ocean floors you have drifted above stretch and adjust continuously. Nothing snaps. Nothing falters. Every movement is deliberate, patient, sustaining. Life above responds effortlessly. Plants stretch their roots. Animals move across shifting landscapes. Humans inhabit flexible homes and pathways, resting atop a moving yet trustworthy ground. You notice the symmetry. Movement sustains life. Patience preserves balance. Breath mirrors rhythm. The warmth beneath the surface rises like a low, persistent hum, threading through the planet and into your awareness. It does not scorch. It does not demand. It supports. You feel held, not only by the ground beneath your feet, but by the larger, unbroken cycles that stretch from mantle to crust, from valleys to oceans, from mountains to skies. You breathe in deeply, allowing the weight of this understanding to settle fully in your body. You breathe out, releasing any remaining tension, any lingering sense of hurry, any need to control. The seams beneath your feet, and beneath oceans and continents far away, continue their patient work. They stretch quietly. They adjust imperceptibly. They remind you that nothing in this world is ever truly static. And yet, you do not feel unsafe. Motion is not chaos. Movement is continuity. Stretching is reassurance. You imagine yourself lying on a soft, warm surface, the same way Earth rests on its mantle. Seams and flows move beneath you, invisible but steady. You feel supported. You feel cradled. You feel entirely at ease. Your awareness drifts slowly across the planet, acknowledging each gentle action. The rifts that form valleys, the lava that cooled and shaped land, the mantle currents that circulate warmth, life that adapts effortlessly to moving ground. All of it blends into one continuous, soothing rhythm. You realize that Earth's patience mirrors your own body's capacity to rest. You do not need to act. You do not need to intervene. You only need to notice, to synchronize, to breathe. Your exhale grows longer. Your inhale grows fuller. The glow of internal warmth beneath the crust feels like a gentle heartbeat, steady and persistent. You align with it. You feel each beat, each subtle shift, each small adjustment. You are not separate. You are resting within the same cycle. The planet's movements continue, imperceptible and quiet. Valleys deepen, seams stretch, volcanoes rest, currents circulate. Your own body, lying atop the moving skin, echoes these rhythms. Your breath flows with the exhalations of Earth. Your chest rises with the warmth circulating below. Your mind softens as your body adapts. You notice that all you have witnessed is part of a story that never truly ends. Time moves slower than thought. Heat moves slowly. Valleys stretch imperceptibly. Life adapts effortlessly. And you are part of this story. Even as a single observer, you exist in harmony with the slow, patient motion of the planet. Your awareness rises gently to the surface, following the warmth and rhythm you have come to trust. You sense the seams stretching beneath you, valleys and ridges resting in balance. Volcanoes are quiet, rivers are calm, forests are still. The world breathes and you breathe with it. Your inhale rises, your exhale settles. Your body and mind are synchronized with the long, unbroken cycles of Earth. You feel a deep sense of belonging. You feel acceptance. You feel calm. The planet's skin stretches, stretches, stretches. You rise with awareness. Everything flows. Nothing is lost. Everything persists. You realize that resting on a moving world is not precarious. It is comforting. It is reassuring. It is sustaining. You are part of a continuum, held by layers of rock, soil, and water that shift and yield without harm. You are part of life that adapts to gentle motion. You are part of a planet that has learned how to move and rest simultaneously. Your chest lifts fully. Your shoulders drop completely. Your mind drifts slowly, in harmony with the planet's slow, steady rhythms. You notice the final lesson. Patience sustains. Flexibility supports. Movement reassures. The seams stretch quietly, doing their work without urgency. Rivers, valleys, and mountains continue to adjust. The earth breathes beneath you, and you rest atop it. Your breath synchronizes completely with the planet's imagined rhythm. Slow, deep, unbroken. You inhale slowly, you exhale even slower, and rest knowing the ground beneath you knows how to move and how to be still.